Good evening and welcome to the Dollar Dogs and Beer podcast. I'm your host, Andrew. Joining me tonight is Joe. How you holding up, bud?
Well, the Cubs can't lose tonight, so I'm feeling pretty good.
You know,
I have reached the I'm not mad, I'm disappointed phase of the baseball season, and it is only June 8th.
I was there roughly April 10th last year, April 15th. I feel it. I really do. Yeah. We won't have Jason joining us. He is still having issues getting on. Hopefully StreamYard will get that worked on soon. This is the third ticket I've put in. Not really happy about that, but hey, it is what it is. We'll get over it and we'll make sure we'll get it fixed as quickly as possible. He did send us notes in tonight, so we do at least have those to go off of. All right, so Joe, what are you drinking tonight?
I am drinking the rebranded American Dew a Zero tonight. So
Oh, for fuck's sake, are you kidding me?
it's amazing.
Oh my god, that's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. I've seen a lot of stupid things, and that damn near takes the cake. Jesus, I don't even care that it's the 250th anniversary of America this year. Please stop. For me, I'm going with one of my summer favorites from good old Cape May Brewing Company, the orange pale ale, the crushing it. One of my all-time favorites. The first time we had it was actually on a beach trip we took down to Sea Isle, and every time we go down there, we also go over to Cape May Zoo and then Cape May Brewing Company after, and got to try it on tap there and was like, okay, holy shit, that's a good beer, and we're going to grab some of that for the campsite, and we did, as one does. I'm gonna take a stab in the dark here. Jason's probably got a Leinenkugel ready because that's just the time of year, and that's one of his favorite summer beers, and that's what he had when he and Karen were at the Phillies game last time. So we'll go with the Leinenkugel for Jason tonight. And if he's not, I'm sure it's still something summery and delicious. But I don't know, man. It feels like summer when it really feels like summer when you crack a Leinenkugel.
Yeah.
All right, rolling into it tonight. We're gonna open up. Should we go serious or should we go All Star game first? What do you think?
I think we should cover the Christopher Sanchez stuff, truthfully. But
Yeah, let's do. Yeah, let's open with Sanchez. We'll sandwich the sad stuff that pisses me off in the middle. So, Christopher Sanchez, what a streak, man. Jason's been on cloud nine with this one, and as he should be. This was an absolutely historic streak. When the pitcher you beat is named Grover Cleveland Alexander. And if you're not either from around here and know some Phillies lore or don't know Phillies lore at all, and you look it up and you see how long ago Grover Cleveland Alexander pitched, it really puts into perspective just how long that streak was and how difficult it was for Sanchez to break it. So the streak broke at 50 2/3 innings. It ran from April 30th until the 7th inning on June 3rd. And that was the start right after the Braves series. So thank God, thank God we weren't a part of that or stuck by that streak. It was one of the. It was part of him having one of the best calendar months a pitcher has ever had, and he did rightfully win the pitcher of the month. We talked about that last week, how it could have been conceivably a split, but the voters went with Sanchez, and that, anytime you see a historic streak broken, you can't argue that. I'm sorry, Pirates fans, but you can't argue with it. All right, so 5th longest streak in MLB history, the 3rd longest in the live ball era, which is since 1920, the longest by a left-handed pitcher in MLB history. The franchise record was 114 years old. In those starts, minimum 7 innings on every start, including a complete game shutout. A .67 whip. He allowed 28 hits, struck out 53, 6 walks. Opponent's batting average against was 155. Out of all of those innings and batters, only 24 3-ball counts, and of those 24, only 12 ended up in a walk. Holy shit.
That's special. That's for sure.
That's how you dominate. You get ahead of the batter, you keep them on their back foot, and they're reacting the whole time. And I remember Joe seeing an interview with Maddox, and one thing he hates seeing in pitchers today is how often when they throw what he calls a give up pitch, where they put it so far outside to move the batter's eye that the batter definitely won't swing at it unless his name's El Blanco. So, I get that. The crazy thing about Sanchez, he's going on 3 pitches: four-seam fastball, a changeup, and a slider. He was well controlled, did a great job with his balance. The changeup, and Jason's right, I was watching some replays of the changeup over the last month, has been one of the best changeups I've ever seen. And I've seen some pretty amazing changeups in my time. Also, Jason wants to make sure we give props to JT for all the games that he called. He was mad at himself for calling a fastball to Jackson Merrill on the pitch that got slapped through the hole at short end of the streak. And honestly, to JT, don't feel bad about that, because the streak did have to, it was going to end at some point. Like, nobody has ever gone 100 innings. It's never going to go a full season. And you know what? Maybe Sanchez was okay with the fastball call, and sometimes the batter just gets lucky and it gets through. Props, and I completely agree with Jason on this one. Props to the home plate umpire for recognizing the importance and taking extra time to clean the plate so Sanchez could be acknowledged by the home fans in Philly. That standing ovation lasted over a minute. Sanchez did crack a smile towards the end of it. I saw in the replays. What a special streak. And Sanchez he's a really special pitcher. Damn, man. You don't often get to see history made like that in a season, and that's freaking cool.
I mean, and when you really think about it in context, the goal is somewhere around 200 innings for starters. So you're talking about a quarter of the year.
Yeah.
Without giving up a run. It's just wild.
It's insane. It's insane, and I really hope that, short of him getting shelled over the next couple starts, I hope that pretty much cemented that he will be starting the All-Star game in Philadelphia, as he should be.
He definitely should be. I mean, especially the way, I know Jason's pointed this out before, but the way that he got kind of shafted and didn't get selected last year was ridiculous.
Yeah.
It'd be good to see him get that nod. He should.
I remember that episode because it's not often that the three of us get riled up about a Philly getting shafted.
Yeah, some rare agreement, you would say.
Yeah, because he absolutely got shafted last year. But yeah, he should be. There's no question in my mind. He's the All-Star game starter, even if it wasn't in Philadelphia. I know there's still like a month-ish to go, and a lot can happen in a month. We'll, maybe somebody will be better by that point, but it's going to be hard to. It's hard to beat that when that's the baseline that you throw down to everybody else.
Yeah.
I know Jason also mentioned, he saw online that there were some fans trolling from other fan bases. I know he saw some from Atlanta, and I got to say, knock that shit off. It was a historical streak. Enjoy it for what it is. And Braves fans, we didn't have to deal with him during the streak, so shut the hell up. No reason for that at all.
Yeah, I mean, the saying "game recognized game." Like, let's honor the guys who do shit none of us could ever do. So,
I'm not sure I could run a streak that long on MLB The Show without setting the difficulty to computer is stupider than a kindergartner. I think that's the only way I could match that. And even then, I've noticed in MLB The Show, if the computer thinks you're doing too well for too long, no matter what you do, the computer somehow starts to do better, no matter what difficulty you're at. So,
yeah, this game will humble you, that's for sure. And it even does it on the video game.
Yeah. But honestly, congratulations to Sanchez. Hell of a streak. Start another one. It was awesome to see.
Absolutely.
And with the way the Philly season's been going so far, they needed that. I was just happy Jason had something to talk about besides finally we have a new manager. All right, we're finally doing well. It gave him something to push through, and that was good. All right, before we go into the All Star ballots, I'm going to talk about something that really pissed me off. There's a lot of things in life that piss me off. Let's be real. I am human, but as I'm sure I've mentioned it before, I'm the father of two boys. And one thing I am never going to be a fan of is the possibility of kids getting hurt in completely preventable ways. I'm not going to play the video, but there was a video flying around on the internet a couple weeks ago from. So there was a youth little league team from Oklahoma. This is a travel league, by the way, so it's the more advanced kids. It's a U11 league. The kid's actually 12 years old, but has a grade exemption to play down a level. The coach, the team was getting absolutely walloped by a Nebraska team. The coach, 38-year-old Michael Riles, had his son throw the ball at the opposing team's dugout. His son, like I said, 12 years old. So, he wound up, and it was almost kind of like a pick off towards third that he threw straight at the fence of the other. Now, it was a full fence, so nobody was going to get hurt or hit, thank God. But the umpire immediately called time and called the game. He didn't even throw the coach and the kid out. He called the game, and that 100% the right call by Blue there. The coach has been banned for life from coaching. His 12-year-old son has been given a 5-year ban, so he's effectively been banned from playing youth baseball for the rest of his youth career. That's bad enough, and then more has come out. The head coach, he has an extensive criminal record. This includes an arrest in 2011 on charges of lewd and indecent behavior with a child who was 14 at the time. It was reduced to a misdemeanor charge of outraging public decency. He was given a 1-year suspended sentence and 5 weekends of incarceration. Now, he told USA Today that he's not a child molester. He never did that. Shouldn't matter. USSSA, the United States Specialty Sports Association, the organization that sanctioned the tournament, which that's where that incident happened, they've also banned him as well. And here's the thing, Joe. They require criminal background checks on all coaches. He never got a background check before he was allowed to coach. That's insane.
Yeah, definitely.
The CEO of USSSA told USA that they're going to be doing a thorough investigation. It was conducted before they announced the disciplinary actions. Of course, he was conspicuously absent on answering questions about the background checks in his criminal record. So they are based out of Florida. They sanction more than 35,000 events, 4.5 million participants in 47 states. It also suggests it has ties to Safe Sport. I'm a member of Safe Sport. I volunteered when my kids played soccer, and Lidditz Youth Soccer requires that all of their head and assistant coaches are members of Safe Sport. So basically, we have to watch out and protect young athletes from sexual abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse. We also get education on monitoring for concussions, basic first aid. When do we need to stop games for these reasons? And USA, so USAA or USSA, I hate that abbreviation. That's terrible. So they're not actually affiliate. It's come out that they're not actually affiliated with Safe Sport, which is insane. And Safe Sport is not authorized to oversee them, which also would have caught this idiot coach and prevented this from ever happening. This is insane. First of all, that this man was allowed to coach without a background check. And it's not just, oh, I can't afford a background check. Well, we'll let you go, because every youth organization I've ever volunteered with, or other parent friends of mine that have volunteered, the organization will either reimburse you if the cost is going to be an issue, or they will straight up pay for it. Or actually, in Pennsylvania, you can get a certain number of volunteer checks in a certain period of time for free as well. So the fact that this got through to a man who clearly has issues, to being allowed to being around children. Normally I would say, at 11 years old, you should know enough between right and wrong to, when the coach tells you to do something like that, to not do it. But it's his kid. So God knows how that kid was raised. And the fact that the kid was raised to think it's okay to chuck a fastball at the opposing team's dugout because things are not going your way. It infuriates me. And it makes me really glad, because I know parents and coaches at the travel level and these higher all-star levels can be very grating to deal with. It's why it's very hard to get umpires to stay consistently in those levels, because the amount of verbal abuse that they get from parents and from coaches, and even sometimes from the athletes themselves. But this should have never gotten to this point. This man should have never been allowed to coach. That's insane to me. What do you think?
Yeah, no arguments from me. I think you've covered it well enough there's really no argument here. There's clearly a lot of folks at fault for not handling the situation before it happened correctly, so that it wouldn't have happened. So,
yep, I feel for those kids from Nebraska that were just there to play baseball and should not have had to have an opposing pitcher chuck a ball at their dugout like that. So I'm glad the kids from Nebraska were rickrolling that Oklahoma team, honestly. So, all right, that's enough of that. Let's move on to happier things again. Let's move it on to the All Star Ballots. Joe, why don't we'll go AL, then NL. We'll go position by position. We'll go. You can read yours. I'll read mine. Then you can read Jason's. All right.
Sounds good.
All right. Let's start off at. We'll start with first base. Who do you got?
So I have Nick Kurtz from the A's.
All right. I've got Ben Rice from the Yankees.
And Jason had Nick Kurtz from the A's as well.
No arguments here from me. I would love to see Kurtz in the All-Star game, especially since he's, Lancaster County guy, and it's in Philadelphia. I'd love to see that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, second base.
I had Ezekiel Duran. That's who I had there.
All right. I had Eric Clement from the Blue Jays.
Yeah, it's Ernie, and that's who Jason had as well. Ernie Clement. Yeah.
Thank you. My bad.
Yep.
All right. For third base, I've got Josh Jung of the Rangers.
I had Miguel Vargas from the White Sox.
Mm-hmm.
And Jason had Junior Caminero.
Ooh. All right. A little debate there. Okay. I like that. All right. Shortstop. Who you got?
I had Bobby Witt. I think this is probably an easy one.
Yeah, I also had Bobby Witt.
Yeah, so did Jason. So this is kind of one of those easy unanimous decisions.
Yeah, I'm not surprised about that. All right, who do you have at catcher?
I went with Shea Langoliers.
That's who I went with as well.
And Jason too. So we had unanimous decisions there.
Wow.
It's hard to argue with the guy who had 2 homers in a game, and one of them was an inside the park at Wrigley.
Yeah. Inside the park at Wrigley. Like, just how? I know you're going to rant about it later.
Probably not.
But yeah, 281, 16 homers, 33 RBIs, and an 880 OPS. Yeah, that's an all-star, especially at catcher. That's an all-star in my book every year.
Yeah.
All right. Who are your three AL outfielders?
I had Rosarena, Bellinger, and Trout.
Okay. I had Byron Buxton, Luke Raleigh, and Cody Bellinger.
Okay. And Jason had Meckler, Trout. He did have Judge, but that was before the injury.
Okay.
So Buxton would be his replacement.
Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't be upset with Trout over Raleigh, honestly. The resurgence Trout has had this year has been, considering his ridiculous injury history, has been nothing short of amazing.
Yeah.
All right. Who do you have for DH?
I have Yandy Diaz from the Rays.
Okay. I went with Jordan Alvarez from the Astros.
And Jason went with Yandy Diaz as well. Probably should be Jordan, but he's not willing to do that.
That's fair. Yeah. I hate voting for an Astro, but I know the Astros are going to get one because everybody has to get one. And I'd rather it be a guy who actually deserves it than a piece of crap like Jose Altuve.
Fair enough.
I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud? Man, those inside voices keep slipping out tonight. All right. Honestly, not a whole lot of contention from us in the AL ballots this year. That's surprising. I think the biggest one was second base. Is that where we all went different directions?
Yeah, third.
Okay.
Yeah, third was where we went all different.
All right. So yeah, like I said, I picked Young. Who did Jason have?
He had Caminero.
Okay.
And I had Vargas from the White Sox.
Vargas. I almost picked Vargas. I almost picked Vargas too. I don't know why I liked him better than Caminero, but Vargas was my second choice. But I have a hard time getting away from a guy hitting 313. I know the power's not as high, but 313 average is damn good, especially in such a swing-happy league right now.
Yeah.
Excuse me. All right. And now for what's clearly the superior league.
I won't argue with you there.
All right. So who do you got at first?
So at first I had Matt Olson.
That's who I had as well.
Jason went with Bryce Harper. He acknowledges that Olson is having the better season. It's in Philly, so he thinks he's giving Harper the edge based on that.
All right. How about second base?
So second base, I went with Bryce Terang from the Brewers.
Yeah, Terang's having a great year. I went Homer there. I went Ozzie. I was back and forth between the two of them. Neither choice is wrong.
Yeah. Jason went with Brandon Lowe from the Pirates.
Interesting.
Honestly, they're all good options. It's just
Lowe's got good OPS and power this year. That's for sure. Average is low, but yeah. Second base. I can't remember second base being that deep in the NL. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Third base, which was surprisingly not deep in the NL this year. What do you got?
I went with Max Muncy from the Dodgers.
That's who I went with.
Jason went with Arenado of the Diamondbacks.
Yeah.
Which is still weird to say.
It does. Yeah. Muncy, the average in OPS. I mean, the averages are similar, but Muncy's got a significantly better OPS and better power numbers. That's why I went with Muncy. But my God, third base is bad this year in the NL. Whew. Even Chapman's having a rough year. Wow. Yeah, this might be, Joe, this might be the weakest we've seen third base in the NL in a couple of years.
I'd say that's probably fair, yeah.
All right, shortstop, who you got?
C.J. Abrams from the Nationals.
That's exactly who I picked.
And that's who Jason went with. So we are in full agreement on that one.
Look at that. Everybody's in full agreement on shortstop in both leagues. That almost never happens. Catcher, I have a feeling we might be in agreement as well. Who do you got?
I went with Liam Hicks of the Marlins.
No, we're not going to be in full agreement. I went full homer and went Drake Baldwin.
I'm not surprised by that. Jason went with Drake Baldwin as well. So
yeah, and he'll be back. He should be back off the IL pretty soon too. So it's not going to be an extended, super long extended stay. All right, outfield. There were a lot of good choices for outfield in the National League this year, and I did not pick Acuna this year. I did pick a Brave. All right, who'd you pick?
So I went with Andy Pages, Jordan Walker, and James Wood.
Okay. All right. I went with Jordan Walker, Michael Harris II, and Mickey Moniak.
Okay. Jason went with James Wood and Walker as well, but he also went with Brandon Marsh as the third one. His was the NL, the average being the best at the moment. Feels he
What's
deserves
Marsh's
it.
average?
I don't know. Maybe it was the best when he did the ballot, but I don't remember.
Oh, Marsh is hitting 335.
Yeah.
His overall power numbers aren't as good. And some of that's because for some reason the Phillies still don't play him every day, which I think is stupid.
Yeah.
I went with Moniak though for my third spot. He's having a resurgent year in Colorado this year. 280, 12 homers, 28 ribbies, 942 OPS. And does he have a home field advantage boosted with batting? Of course he does. Everybody in the Rockies organization does. Doesn't take away from the fact that he is having such a good year. Honestly, and him being a former Philly, I'd love to see him get some love coming back home from the fans. All right, DH. I'm going to go last this time because I do want to explain this one. So you go ahead with yours and Jason's.
Jason and I both went with Schwarbs.
Okay. All right. So in my ballot, I'm going to pick Schwarber. And I'm going to pick Schwarber because I'm so tired of Shohei Ohtani getting on there and starting. I'm tired of it.
I mean, he should be in there pitching, let's be honest.
Oh, I know. And Schwarber got screwed last year, too. Yeah. I really think it should be Dom Smith from Atlanta. He has had, similar to Moniak, he's had one hell of a career turnaround this year with a new team, new surroundings. He's batting .302, 6 homers, 28 RBIs, 817. He's been good enough that Baldwin hasn't been playing straight DH on his off days. Like they've actually given Baldwin before he got hurt some days off because Dominic Smith has been hitting so well that they didn't want to risk his bat going cold. If you've got a hot hand, run with it until it turns cold. So I'm going to officially cast my ballot for Schwarber, but I really think it should be Dominic Smith.
Okay. Now on that note, outside of the folks that you voted for and mentioned with Dominic Smith, is there anybody else on your team you feel like should be an All-Star?
From the Braves?
Yes.
I think Acuna's done well enough to make the bench.
Okay.
So here's the thing. For shortstop, because Ha-Seong Kim's has been on the top of the depth chart all year, he's the one that's going to be on the ballot. But I don't really think he should be the one that's on the ballot for Atlanta. Give me a second here. I'm pulling my depth chart up because I don't want to butcher his name like I always do. I really think Mauricio Dubon should be the one that's on the ballot for shortstop. He played most of the early part of the year when Kim was hurt. I don't know that he would be an all-star, but his numbers aren't bad. He has played, how many games has he played this year? I just want to double check that. He's played in 62 games this year. He's slashing 260, 317, 731, 59 hits, 6 homers, 36 RBIs, and he's playing great. the big thing we got him for was his flexibility, being able to play defense almost anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really showed as he has played. Let me see here. He has played almost everywhere. Yeah, he's played a little bit of third base to spell Riley. He's played the bulk of his games at shortstop. He's also floated out to help out in left field and center field as well. They've been doing a good job letting Harris get some rest this year. So I really think Mauricio Dubon should be on the ballot instead of Ha-Seong Kim, because Ha-Seong Kim missed so much of the season already with injury. But it's just, they print the ballot out based on the depth chart.
Okay.
So that's why Kim's on there. But yeah, Dubon would be the guy that, honestly, he would be like my guy that I would pick as the last minute flex guy to cover someone who's either injured or doesn't want to go to the game. Like that.
Gotcha.
That's the kind of spot he should be in.
Okay.
Whereas Dom Smith, I think, has a legitimate argument, but with Shohei and Schwarber, he doesn't have a chance outside of Atlanta.
Yeah. Anybody pitching wise?
Yes.
Okay.
I've got quite a few pitchers I think should be on the All-Star roster. Chris Sale, of course, has been absolutely fantastic, just like he's been ever since we got him. Loving that, by the way. Let me pull him up here. Bryce Elder should be considered, but I don't think Elder is. I am so glad he is playing back to what he did the last time he was an All-Star. I don't think his numbers are quite good enough to be an All-Star. Well, take the win-loss numbers. Actually, he might have a case similar to Sale. He doesn't strike as many out, walks a little more, but his whip and average against are pretty similar, and he's actually thrown more innings. Interesting. Okay, so yeah, Sale and Elder as starters. Out of the bullpen, definitely not Reynaldo Lopez. Yuck. Out of the bullpen, Dylan Lee should be considered, but he's not a closer, so he probably won't be. But Dylan Lee should be considered. Raisel Iglesias should absolutely be considered, as should Robert Suarez. Atlanta's bullpen has been really, really, really good this year. And thank God Aaron Bummer got cut, just saying. But yeah, bullpen guys, Iglesias and Suarez will probably be the two most interested in. But like I said, Dylan Dodd should absolutely also be considered. Dodd has he been hurt? He hasn't pitched much lately. Oh, that's why they've been bouncing Dodd between. That's why his ERA is where it's at. Okay. Dodd probably won't get considered because he hasn't had enough appearances. And that's what part of the reason why his ERA is low. He still had options. So he's been bounced back and forth a little bit to cover IL stints. But next year when he is in the bullpen full time, if he pitches like he has this year, he has been a ridiculously good lefty specialist. But yeah, Iglesias and Suarez.
Okay. Jason had a few outside of the guys he voted for. Sanchez, he mentioned. We talked about that.
Sanchez should be the starter.
And Duran, or Duran, I should say, I guess. The closer, 15 for 15 in saves, and it has a 0 ERA or very close to that.
Yeah.
So,
I absolutely think Duran should be out there as well.
And I will. This is not a shock to you or Jason probably, but there's only one player I think that from the Cubs who should go at all, and that's Ben Brown and out of the starting rotation.
Ben Brown's been really good. I completely agree with you on that one, man.
And it's crazy to think, to look at that roster and be like, okay, that's the one, and you're like, okay, cool, but I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Ben Brown's fun to watch. He is a really good pitcher.
Yeah, his knuckle curve is sweet when it's on, and that fastball has been great for him. He's been really doing a great job with the mix. It's really been, he had a lot of struggles last year, and this year he has certainly, um, proven that trade correctly, that he was the right guy to get in the
Absolutely.
Robertson deal. So
Yeah, absolutely. Um, Keith Reifsnyder sent me his ballot earlier this morning. I'm gonna let you know what he had. Because I think he has a lot of good picks too. He went with American League first, Rice at first, Clement at second, Caminero at third, Pena at shortstop, Jeffers catching, although I don't agree with that, buddy. Bellinger, Judge, Rodriguez in the outfield, although he'll probably swap Judge for Buxton given the injury, and Alvarez at DH. First baseman, he also went with Harper because he refuses to vote for Olson. Lowe at second, Gonzalez at third, Lopez at shortstop, Baldwin at catcher, Cruz, Harris, and Marsh in the outfield, and Otani at DH. Very surprised that he went with Otani over Schwarber, but Keith is a Phillies fan that very much is always willing to look at the stats and set most of his biases aside first. Most. Hey, nobody's perfect. All right. All right. Let's move it on to, all right, let's move it on. Joe, why don't you start off with the Central? Was there, I know you kind of wanted to lump the Central together today for around the bases.
yeah, so what I wanted to briefly touch on is what's really interesting with the Central divisions, um, is the Rookie of the Year conversation. Um, and in the AL Rookie of the Year favorites from ESPN, 6 of the top 10 in the AL are from the Central Division, and in the NL, 4 of the top 10 are from the Central. So just the complete domination of the youth movement in those two divisions has been exciting to see. The numbers for you, McGonigal for the Tigers is the favorite right now at minus 135.
Mm-hmm.
Murakami is second at plus 600. And then it's Travis Bazana from the Guardians at plus 600 as well. And then rounding up the top five there, Samuel Basalo from the Orioles at plus 700, and then Parker Messick from the Guardians at 10-1.
Okay.
And then in the NL, the Weatherholt from the Cardinals is in the top spot right now at plus 120. Sal Stewart from the Reds at plus 200. Nolan McLean from the Mets at plus 550. Connor Griffin at 11-1 in the 4 spot from the Pirates, and Carson Bang from the Mets at 28-1.
Okay.
So just the dominance of the youth movement to me is really interesting of the Central divisions. And I think that's led to a lot of the surprises we've had there with the White Sox at their success, with the Cardinals doing what the Cardinals do and being in that second hole right now in the Central Division. It's just interesting to look at how that translates quite a bit to that. So,
All right. I do like it. It's good to see the youth movements playing strong, especially in Pittsburgh, because that's the only justification that their idiot ownership has for lack of a better term, his conduct and how he trades players right before they become right before they lose team control, and continuously throwing that team into what seemed like a never-ending rebuild. So it's good to see finally that all those years of high picks are panning out. And that's a beautiful park, and that's a great set of fans out there. Pittsburgh is one place I always love going to see games. Nice, knowledgeable fans, gorgeous ballpark. I can't wait to see it finally get some games in October. I don't know if they're going to be able to hold on this year. There's a lot of baseball left to play, but that's a place that's been yearning for playoff baseball for a very, very long time, and I really hope they get it soon.
Yeah, and of those 6 in the AL Central, Rookie of the Year, 3 of them are from the Guardians, which is just wild.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's literally insane. Like, how the hell is that possible? Just nuts. All right. Looking over, let's see. Oh, also one thing you didn't mention that I'm going to steal from the Central. Scuba went 5 scoreless in his first rehab start. Damn. Trade deadline just got really, really, really interesting with that, didn't it?
Yeah, especially with the fact that the Tigers, actually went on a bit of a winning run over the weekend and late last week. So,
It's
it's not a done deal really yet.
I'm really curious, man. I'm really curious what it's going to take or what kind of a deal they are going to get. It's definitely going to be something we'll be keeping a very close eye on because I can see some crazy stuff happening.
Definitely.
All right, let's see here. Let's roll it into the East, into the NL East first of all. I'm going to talk about Atlanta because I haven't been paying as much attention lately to the other teams because we haven't been playing division games lately. I mentioned Dom Smith a little bit earlier and how I think he really does deserve to be an all-star, but Dom Smith, Mauricio Dubon, they are powering the bottom half of our lineup, and it's made Atlanta's lineup very, very difficult to get through because there aren't a lot of holes in it right now. Although, annoyingly, one of those holes is Austin Riley at third base. But, if this is going to be the year where he sucks in the first half and goes on fire in the second half, I won't be totally upset.
Is he in danger of Dubon kind of just taking that from him for a little while?
I don't think he is yet.
Okay.
Riley's played every game so far, so I wouldn't be shocked if see, the problem is Ha-Seong Kim hasn't really played well since he's come back from his injury. He's batting like 091, I think. So Dubon needs to play shortstop while Kim gets back into the groove and gets back into playing shape. Once Kim is consistently playing well at shortstop, if Riley's still struggling and still hasn't taken a day off, I could see Walt Weiss going over to Riley and say, "Hey, similar to what Biggio did with Dansby, and say, hey, I'm going to give you a day off to rest, recover, think about what's going on." I could absolutely see Walt Weiss doing that. Walt Weiss has 3 guys who've played every game. Riley's played every game. Albies has played every game. Olson's played every game. Matt Olson, that's not a surprise. He is the current Iron Man in MLB right now. He is the active leader in consecutive games played. And he is at, let me see here. Forget what the streak is. Where is it? Shoot. Anyway, I had it up and then I closed the tab like an idiot. Anyway, I know Matt Olson's the active leader right now. So yeah, right now he's fine because Dubon needs to play shortstop until Kim's ready. Oh no, Kim's up to 096. All right, that's still shit, but it's slightly. They also have Jose Mateo who can play shortstop and, float over for Riley. So here's the thing with Riley. The average is awful. Yes. 208, 284, 358. Absolutely terrible. But he's had some really good streaks. He's got 10 doubles, which is actually fourth in the team? Tied for fourth? Yeah. Fourth in the team. The home runs are starting to get there at 8. He's showing power both ways. I think he's having a little bit of bad luck where the fielders are just in the right spot to catch it a lot. I don't think it's purely that he's doing too much chasing, although he is chasing. He does lead the team in strikeouts. He is pressing a little too much. but I don't think that's purely the problem with Riley right now. I I don't know all of what's going on, but I think it's possible that Weiss will maybe give him a couple days off scattered here and there. But I think Austin Riley's shown throughout his career that he's just streaky. He's going to be really hot at times. We've had months where he's had a month OPS over 1. And he's had months where he can't hit the broadside of a barn. So, unfortunately, with Austin Riley, I just think you have to ride it until his bat gets hot and fielders stop being lucky and being in that spot to catch the ball off the bat. I mean, I remember the year we won the World Series, Freddie Freeman had an awful average for the first 2.5 months because he was hitting it hard, but somehow or another there was always a fielder there, and then things turned Freddie's way like they always did. So I'm a little concerned, but I'm also I know Riley's streaky, and Walt Weiss is not like Brian Snitker. He is willing to be more flexible with his lineup. He's willing to move the hot hitters up and the cold hitters down. So Riley's not being held in the 3-4 hole like he would have been under Brian Snitker until he got better, until he got benched. So, am I frustrated? Absolutely. I'm 100% frustrated by it. But at the same time, I think he'll work through it. I think he'll be okay. I don't think he should ever be a 162 game guy anyway. I think he's a guy, given his injury history, that needs to be told, hey, you need to sit a day or two here and there.
Fair enough.
So, good question, though. Very good question. But, yeah, like I said, one thing I have loved more than anything else this year is just watching the bottom of the lineup keep the lineup deep, make it harder for pitchers to find outs in the lineup. And, after last year, when everything that could go wrong pretty much did, it's nice to see some things finally going right. Yeah, I know. I know.
I'm not sure I know what that feels like.
Yeah, dude, the Cubs have been the streakiness of the Cubs this year. It's been. It's the best way to describe this, because
I don't want to talk about it.
I know, but it's like it's the car wreck. You can see it coming, and you should look away, but you can't look away. That's I don't know what else to say for a team that can have that can have a pair of 10-game winning streaks, go 14 and stupid for the other games, run off a ridiculous home winning streak, and then run off a ridiculous home losing. That's baseball. I'm really sorry you have to deal with that, because that's absolutely stupid. It really is.
It is what it is.
Yeah. Hopefully it gets better. Over in the AL West, because I don't really have anything for the NL West this week, but over in the AL West, coming up, the Athletics are going to be playing against, actually it's this week, they will be playing in Las Vegas. They will be at their AAA affiliate, the Las Vegas ballpark. That's where what are they called? The Las Vegas, are they the Scorpions or something weird like that? Anyway, they're going to be playing at their AAA affiliates ballpark for the week. They've got the Brewers in town from the 8th to the 10th, the Rockies in town from the 12th to the 14th. The Aviators, that's it, Las Vegas Aviators. So they'll be playing at yet another AAA ballpark for, the idea was to give, hopefully start to gain fans out in Vegas. They're freely admitting, hey, the Golden Knights, they didn't have a lot of fans before they moved out there, and look at them now, blah, 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 blah. Shut up. You shouldn't have moved. You sold out. You played one city against the other and screwed Oakland. So just shut up. I hate your owner. But yeah, hey, look at that. look at that, athletics fans. You get to go from one AAA ballpark to another AAA ballpark. I'm guessing Severino will still suck. Sorry, that's not nice.
Yeah, probably. Um, the only thing I found interesting, I don't know, did you have anything for the AL East? You didn't mention anything, so I wasn't sure if there was.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't really pull anything up for the AL East. If you have something, go for it.
I mean, one of the things I thought is just looking at the division there. Um, who most surprises you? The Yankees being where they are, or the Rays being at the top?
All right, that's a good question. I'm more surprised the Rays being at the top than I am the Yankees, um, especially given that the Yankees against good competition still are under 500, which is
Significantly, yeah.
wild to me. Now, first of all, it's also wild that they have only played 14 games against teams under 500 or teams over 500. And that's a scheduling quirk that they can't do anything about. Like, I'm not bashing the Yankees for the fact that they haven't played the teams when they don't make their schedule. But the fact that you're 4-10 on June 8th, you are 4-10 against opponents that are better than 500. That's a problem.
Yeah.
And I understand.
What's really interesting to me is Tampa Bay back home in the Trop. They're 22-9.
And they're still only getting like 2,000 fans a game, and but they're still. It's cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's an ugly stadium. It will forever be one of the ugliest stadiums baseball's ever seen. But hey, man, I'm glad they're home, and I'm glad they're playing well at home. It's good to see. And, they don't have to deal with the stupid weather around Tampa during the summer, which is hateful.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think that's part of the reason they're doing better this year too, Joe. They don't have to deal with they're not remember how off balance their schedule had to be last year. They had so many home series in the beginning and in September, and then like that middle third, they were almost never home because that's when the weather is worse around Tampa with all the thunderstorms that just randomly pop up throughout the day. So, I'm glad that they're doing better, certainly.
One overall league-wide thing that I find interesting right now is when you look at the, if the playoffs started today thing,
mm-hmm.
you literally have two teams from each division in the playoff, which isn't probably going to happen long term, but to have it be in that position at this point of the year is kind of interesting to see.
Yeah, that's crazy, actually. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, you have obviously you have the Rays, the Guardians, and Mariners, but in the wild card you have the Yankees, the White Sox, and the Rangers. So you have one team from each division there, and then in the NL, the wild cards are the Cards, the Phillies, and the Diamondbacks. So
that's cool.
to see that translate where it's two teams from each division is kind of like, it would be cool if it stays that way, because then it's like you're getting, fans from all over the sport.
Yeah. I don't think that's never happened since we've gone to this format, has it?
I don't think so. I really found that quite interesting looking at the standings at this point of the year.
I wouldn't be upset if it stays that way, that's for sure. That would be really neat to see. Mm-hmm. And nobody could say, oh, they had a division of death and they all cannibalized each other and blah, 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 as we've seen before. Well, we'll also have to see how those tiebreakers go later in the year too, because let me I pulled Severino up here. Give me a second. I just wanted to look at his home versus away splits to see if he's at least doing better home versus away than he did last year, because that was hideous last year. Here we go. There's the pitching splits. Come on, load up. Thank you. Well, he's not doing great overall either way. No, he's only 2-6 this year.
I was impressed with they had two younger guys pitch against the Cubs last week
Mm-hmm.
who looked really, really good. Um, so the A's are getting a lot of help from their younger guys, which is quite nice to see.
Nope, the splits are still wow. So the win loss is the same right now for Severino. He's 1-3 home, 1-3 away. 7 starts in the road, 5 at home. 5.33 ERA at home, 3.38 on the road. 7 home runs given up at home, 2 on the road, which that doesn't surprise me. Again, playing in a minor league park at home does not help. 39 to 26 strikeouts. The whip 1.539 at home, 1.420 on the road. 2 hits batsmen at home, 2 balks at home, none on the road. Yeah. That's nuts. I can't remember ever outside of a Rockies pitcher having such crazy home road splits as Severino the last couple of years. That's wild. All right, let's move it into the hot list, Joe. Who is your hitter for the week?
So the hitter for me is Matt Chapman from the San Francisco Giants. 368, 440, 737 on the week. 3 runs, 7 hits, 1 double, 2 home runs, both against the Cubs on Friday, in an 18-3 drubbing, which is just awful. 2 homers, 12 RBIs. Again, 8 of those RBIs came against the Cubs on Friday afternoon. 3 walks and 4 strikeouts.
Wow, that I don't have words.
Yeah, that was quite a it. I mean, the week was good, but just one day for him was excellent.
Wow. All right, I'm gonna pick one first for Jason, and I'm going to honor one of his All Star selections. And I am going to go with Brandon Marsh. I was just making sure I wasn't hitting your money ball. Brandon Marsh last week, 24 at bats, /500, 529, 17. 4 runs, 3 homers, 6 RBIs, a stolen base, 12 hits, a double, a walk, and 6 strikeouts. Not a bad week.
Not bad at all.
For me, I'm going to respect your wishes and ignore PCA.
I mean, you could talk about him, but
yeah. Well, the problem is he had a great week at bat, but he had a shitty week in the field, and it was a ridiculously bad week. And you know what? We're going to say that nullifies a good batting week, even if an error wasn't officially charged. We'll go with Hunter Goodman of the Rockies. No, I'm going to go Bryce Terang. No, it's going to be Terang. 27 at bats, 407, 484, 778, 6 runs, 2 homers, 8 RBIs, 2 stolen bags, 11 hits, 2 doubles, a triple, 4 walks to 8 strikeouts. That's a really good week.
Yeah, very good.
And I think Fleet of Foot goes to Oh no, it goes to Bobby Witt. Wow. Bobby Witt had 6 stolen bases last week. That's nuts. Wow. That's absolutely nuts.
That's great for the Royals.
Sure. Unfortunately, only hit 222. So, yeah. All right. So, who's Moneyball this week, Joe?
Moneyball this week is Yordan Alvarez from the Houston Astros. 476, 577, 810 slash line. 6 runs on 10 hits, 1 double, 2 home runs. 9 RBIs, 5 walks, and my favorite part of this is 1 strikeout.
Wow. 1 strikeout.
Yeah. I
damn.
Whenever I look for these, I mean, obviously I look at walks and on base, but if they have a high number of walks, but they struck out a ton, I just can't in good conscience reward that bullshit. So.
Correct. That's against Billy Bean's philosophy.
Right.
All right, moving on to the pitchers. For Jason, I'm going to select. Jason's going to pick Jacob deGrom. deGrom had 2 starts last week, went 2-0, 11 innings, 14 strikeouts, ERA of 0, a WHIP of .91, no runs, 7 hits, 3 walks. Not too bad. I am happy to say Kansas City has given me a guy I have never heard of, and Noah Cameron. And seeing as he's only rostered in like 34% of fantasy leagues, I'm not surprised to say that. He went 1-0 in 2 starts, 13 innings. He gave up 1 earned run, a very nice .69 ERA, a .31 WHIP, 4 hits, no walks. That 1 run was on a solo shot. It's a damn good week. All right, Joe, who's your pitcher?
So I'm going to go with Gage Jump from the Athletics.
What
Actually,
in
I'm going to give you 2, but Gage Jump from the Athletics is one of them. He went 2-0, 13 and a third innings this past week, 6 hits, 1 run, 1 hit batter, 4 walks, 8 strikeouts, a .75 WHIP, a 140 batting average against. And the other one, I don't.
8 ERA, by the way. I don't know if you
A what?
That ERA is .68. That's insane.
Yeah. You didn't. Who was your pitcher? I know who Jason's was, but
no, I did know a Cameron of the Royals.
Okay, yeah, that was insane. Drew Rasmussen was another one from Tampa Bay. Only had 1 game and won that game, but he went 7 innings, 1 hit, no runs, no walks, 9 strikeouts, a .14 WHIP, a .045 batting average against.
That's insane, dude. Holy hell.
Yeah, that was pretty wild.
Yeah, I can't argue that one. All right. Who's the adulting reliever of the week?
Well, there's really no competition here. It's got to be Johan Duran.
Yeah, 3 for 3. Yeah.
4 for 4.
No, 4 for 4. My bad.
4 innings, 1 hit, no runs, no walks, 7 strikeouts, a .25 WHIP, and a .077 batting average against.
Yeah. No arguments there. You can't beat that. Well, I mean, I guess you could beat that if you went 5 for 5, but then we're going to ask, what the hell is the manager doing throwing him 5 games in a week? Yeah, so I just hope the Phillies don't run out of fireworks for when he has to come in, and pyrotechnics. All right. Hot team for me. I'm going to keep rolling with the home team favorite, Atlanta. 8-2 in the last 10. They just came off sweeping the Pirates. And in the earlier series, took 2 out of 3, continuing to do what you have to do. Win your series, move on.
Okay. I'm going to give you 2 teams. They're both from the NL Central, ironically enough. Milwaukee Brewers are 7-3 in their last 10 on a 3-game winning streak going into tonight. And the St. Louis Cardinals with a 4-game win streak going into tonight. And they are +2 in the wild card.
And they still have a negative run differential. That's insane.
I tell you what, I mean, Jordan Walker feels like he's been rejuvenated without any pressure whatsoever to perform, and that's been excellent for him.
I love seeing it, honestly. He's a good kid. He really is. I really think they just I think they brought him up too early, and then they yo-yoed him too much up and down, up and down. I'm glad he's finally settling in.
Yep.
So, all right. And definitely not making the hot list this week will be the Cincinnati Reds that are on a 4-game dropper and are 2-8 in their last 10. Man, what happened to the Reds? They were scrappy and doing well and making my early season prediction look okay. And now they are not. At least our early season predictions about the Rockies have been holding pretty well true so far. Pretty well true.
Let's be fair. That bar was very high.
No, that's very true. That bar couldn't have gotten too much lower, and unless you had a midget holding it up.
But I am going to make a bold prediction. We did talk about scheduling off air. The Cubs play 3 against Colorado, 3 in San Francisco, and then 3 at home against Colorado. In the Colorado series, they are going to go a total of 2-4.
Really?
I'm just not feeling it. I just don't buy this team. And I mean, I know Alex and I went back and forth on that in our central predictions. I just don't buy it. Like, until you can prove that you can consistently do what you need to do,
that's fair.
I'm just not going to go for it.
Yeah, that's fair. I can't argue the point. I don't think you're going to do that bad. I think you're going to go.
I'd like to not do that bad, but we went 2-4 this past week.
4-2,
we went 2-4 this past week against the A's and the Giants. So
yeah, the Giants. I don't know what to think about them because they're really bad, but somehow they're able to be an absolute thorn in the side. They're literally being the Marlins of the West. And it doesn't make any damn sense at all. But somehow they are. And I just don't get it. Make it make sense, because I certainly can't, and I've given up trying to make it make sense myself. Well, anyway, do you have anything else for this week, Joe?
I don't.
All right. All right, guys. Audio recordings are available on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, anywhere you can find podcasts. We are live on YouTube as well as Facebook. Merchandise is at redbubble.com/people/DDAB-podcast. Follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/dollardogsandbeer. We are presented by Dark Arrow Podcast LLC and sponsored by Baron Barbershop over in Mannheim. May your dogs always cost $1. May your beer always be cold. We will see you next week.